The date is December 9th, 1976. After a two-game losing streak, Buffalo Braves star Bob McAdoo would decompress and take a drive to Toronto to do some Christmas shopping. McAdoo, at this very moment, is off to a very promising start to his NBA career. In just 4 seasons, he would have under his belt 3 scoring titles and an MVP. His team, the Buffalo Braves, have also been on a tremendous run. 3 straight playoff appearances, twice pushing the eventual champs to 6 games. Coming into this season, they've added Moses Malone and drafted soon-to-be Rookie of the Year Adrian Dantley. The future could not have looked brighter, which makes it all the more puzzling that in just a little over a year, the team would cease to exist. But before we get started, a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Quillbot. If you're anything like me, you probably hate work emails. Luckily, Quillbot makes them easy. Their Chrome extension checks my grammar, makes me sound more professional, and can even help me draft emails. Ever since I installed Quillbot, my inbox has been so easy to manage. So if you're interested, install Quillbot for free with the link below. Thank you, Quillbot. To begin, we must first understand a little bit about the Braves owner, John Y. Brown. John Y. Brown was a natural businessman. With a background in law, his life would change in 1963 when he met a man named Harlan Sanders, better known as Colonel Sanders.
I didn't know what he did, a man in a white suit and a little bit different, and I didn't know if he worked out of his basement or what kind of deal he had going on.
Brown was mesmerized. He would learn that Sanders, on his own, has franchised KFC and a secret recipe to 600 locations.
He'd go in a restaurant and knock on the door and say, "Let me cook you some chicken, buddy, and if you like it, I'll give you a license." When I saw those checks, some of them be $100 a month, $150, $200, and I said, "This is fascinating."
His vision would become clear. If KFC could do this with just one man, imagine what they could do with an entire team. Thus, Brown and his business partner would buy KFC from Colonel Sanders for $2 million, and the rest is history.
Okay, Colonel, hit the road.
By 1970, with his newfound KFC wealth, John Y. Brown would venture into his next endeavor, professional basketball. Not with the NBA, but with the American Basketball Association, the ABA, buying part of the Kentucky Colonels franchise. There are 2 things you will soon learn about John Y. Brown. 1, you will never be able to predict his next move. And 2, he lives by the motto of operating everything like a business. Now running a basketball team, that line of thinking remains the same. At the exact same time in the NBA, the league has just announced the expansion of 3 new franchises: the Portland Trail Blazers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Buffalo Braves. For Buffalo, this will be their second major professional sports franchise added to the city in the same year, with the NHL Sabres being the other. Right off the bat, the Braves would be off to a rocky start, with the original investment group pulling out right away. The team would be in a state of limbo before playing their first ever game. However, right before the season would start, Paul Snyder, an entrepreneur who founded Freezer Queen, would purchase the franchise.
No, I had never even seen an NBA game before. So I went and saw it. I ended up buying the team.
Despite being a major league team, the Buffalo Braves upon inception would be relegated to the city's 3rd team.
When I made the deal for the Braves, the Sabres played Sunday. Canisius College had a long-term contract on Saturday nights. The Braves had to play Tuesday and Friday in direct competition with all the high schools. And the NBA has a rule that every team has to provide a weekend playing date for television.
The NBA would give Paul Snyder 5 years to find a solution. In the meantime, the Braves would, from the 1971 season, begin playing a portion of their home games in Toronto. On the court, their luck would be much better. In the 1972 NBA draft, they would select Bob McAdoo, while also hiring coach Jack Ramsey. Despite missing the playoffs, McAdoo will win Rookie of the Year. The following 1973-1974 season, the Braves would draft Ernie DiGregorio, who would, just like McAdoo the season prior, also win Rookie of the Year. Bob McAdoo wouldn't be too shabby himself, winning the NBA scoring title while also being named to All-NBA second team. The Braves would make their first ever playoffs, where they would push the Celtics to 6 games, ending the series on a controversial foul call.
The object of this pressure was JoJo White. The first won the game and the series.
The Celtics would go on to win the championship.
He's all over. Final score, the Boston Celtics are the champions of the NBA for the 12th time.
Over in the ABA, the Colonels were on the verge of relocation. To keep the team in Kentucky, John Y. Brown would purchase full ownership of the franchise, which wasn't a big financial strain for Brown, as he had recently sold his entire stake in KFC for $284 million. Now, with full control of the team, he would appoint his wife as co-owner and assemble an all-female board of directors. The GM and the coach, both opposing Brown's decisions, would resign that offseason. This would ultimately lead to Brown then hiring first-time head coach Hubie Brown, who would in his first season lead the Colonels to win the 1975 ABA championship.
It's all over in Kentucky, and the Colonels are going to hang their first ABA championship banner from the rafters at Freedom Hall.
Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Braves would also have a successful season. After losing to the Celtics the year prior, Bob McAdoo would take another leap in his development, winning not only his second straight scoring title, but also winning the league MVP.
Bob McAdoo was out there picking up some hardware, the most valuable player in the NBA.
Yet, once playoff time came, the Braves would lose in the semifinals to the Washington Bullets in 7 games. The following season, the Braves would take another step forward, with McAdoo leading the league in scoring for the 3rd straight season.
McAdoo from outside, yes!
And guard Randy Smith now becoming an all-star in his own right while earning All-NBA second-team honors. For the 3rd straight season, the Braves would make it to the conference semifinals, and for the 3rd straight season, they would come up short, this time again to the Boston Celtics in 6 games, who would then go on to win the NBA championship. That offseason, Paul Snyder has officially had enough. He was fed up with his team failing to get over the hump, and even more fed up with the city for still not taking the Braves seriously. After this impressive 3-season stretch, the Braves were still seen as the 3rd team in the city, still unable to book weekend game nights. But just because they couldn't play on the weekends doesn't mean the fans didn't love them. In fact, the Braves have become a symbol for the working class.
Sons of electricians, steel workers, chemical workers, parole officers. Compare that to the people I knew who went to Sabres games and they were sons of dentists and doctors. To me, Braves fans, and this is how I remember it, were the working class fans.
Now, more than 5 years later, Paul Snyder would still be without a solution to his arena problem.
And the league finally said, we're giving you 12 more months to solve the problem, or you're going to lose sharing in television revenue. And at that point, TV revenue was more than 50% of total revenue, and you couldn't survive without it.
Thus, Snyder would be dealt a self-imposed ultimatum: either build the city a new arena or to sell the team. Snyder would choose the latter. On June 15, 1976, Paul Snyder would sell the Buffalo Braves to Irving Cohen, a hotel owner who would move the team to Hollywood, Florida. But despite Buffalo's seemingly indifference to the team, the city would fight back, suing Snyder for $10 million for breach of contract, effectively blocking the move. This would lead Snyder to sign a new 15-year lease with the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, a contract that included a sneaky provision. If season tickets fall below $5,000, the team would be free to relocate. Paul Snyder would then decide to still sell the team to someone who would keep the team in Buffalo. The owner he would sell it to? None other than John Y. Brown. After winning a championship with the Kentucky Colonels, Brown would quickly begin cutting costs, trading away center Dan Izzo to Denver for cash, only for Izzo to later lead the Nuggets past the Colonels that very playoffs. For Brown, much of that season, his focus was elsewhere, as he was one of the ABA owners who helped negotiate a merger with the NBA. Yet, when the merger actually came to fruition, John Y. Brown would choose not to pay the $5.5 million merger fee, but instead to fold the Kentucky Colonels for a $3 million payout, a move that would anger Coach Hubie Brown, who would allegedly to this day refer to John Y. Brown as the man who destroyed the Kentucky Colonels basketball team. John Y. Brown, in response, will be quoted as saying, "Ellie and I decided that basketball isn't the kind of business we want to be involved in." Logically, later that summer, John Y. Brown would purchase the Buffalo Braves.
The Braves look for better days under the ownership of John Y. Brown.
His plan? Well, never confirmed. Let's take a step back and look at the situation. A man who's had no more interest in the basketball business is buying a team that's been trying to relocate and now has a provision to actually relocate if attendance falls below 5,000 season tickets. So what did John Y. Brown do? Everything to ensure that season tickets would fall below 5,000. When Coach Jack Ramsay got wind of this, he would resign as coach of the Braves, a move that would prove fruitful for Ramsay, who would later that season win a championship with the Portland Trail Blazers. But there was also another problem for Brown. Despite being rich in net worth, he didn't have enough money to actually buy the team.
John Y. Brown was a wealthy man, but his wealth was not very liquid. He had a lot of money. He had money tied up in federal bonds and stuff, things that aren't liquid.
Thus, just like he did previously with Dan Izzo, John Y. Brown will begin selling off players. This will allow him to 1. Purchase the team with cash, and 2. Gut the team to tank attendance.
When he wanted to buy the team from Snyder, it allowed him to sell off those players.
In hindsight, the timing couldn't have been worse to go into a rebuild, as the Braves actually had a pretty stellar offseason, trading for Moses Malone while also drafting rookie Adrian Dantley. Malone would play a total of 6 minutes for the Braves before being dealt to Houston. He would end up as one of the greatest players in NBA history. Adrian Dantley, meanwhile, would win Rookie of the Year, the 3rd ever for the franchise. He would soon become the first ever Rookie of the Year to be traded. In hindsight, it's crazy to think that just earlier that season, they would have added these 2 players to a core that pushed the Celtics to 6 games.
And as McAdoo pointed out to me, he said, you think if they kept that front line together, I think we would have done some damage. I think we would have won some titles.
Later, in December that season, team star Bob McAdoo would embark on a drive to Toronto to do some Christmas shopping at the Eaton Center.
He's doing his Christmas shopping up at the Eaton Center in Toronto with Randy Smith, his good longtime friend.
While he was at the mall, he would hear his name on the PA system.
And he thinks something terrible's happened to his family or something. And he rushes off and then comes back, and he's got this just stunned look on his face. And Smith goes, what's wrong? And McAdoo goes, I was traded to the Knicks.
And just like that, Bob McAdoo would be traded to division rival the New York Knicks.
In a very lopsided trade. It was pretty much for money.
Taking all those years where the Braves are going past the Knicks, and all of a sudden you give him your best player, you trade him your best player. It didn't make any sense to the fans, but you could see the handwriting's on the wall.
A move that angered the entire league, a move that was so questionable, the commissioner, Larry O'Brien, was asked to veto it. For the following season and a half, the Braves would be zapped of its former glory, missing the playoffs while sitting near the bottom of the conference. On April 8, 1978, the Buffalo Braves would play their final game of existence against the Boston Celtics, a game that was a retirement celebration for legend John Havlicek. At halftime, Celtics owner Irv Levin would take the mic to a sea of boos.
On behalf of
You see, after the Celtics won the championship in '76, they would now be in a 2-year drought of not making the finals. The man who took the blame? None other than Irv Levin, who is now growing increasingly dissatisfied with the franchise and wanting to move the team to his home state of California. Meanwhile, John Y. Brown and the Buffalo Braves were openly shopping their team to suitable buyers. Thus, NBA General Counsel David Stern would come up with an idea that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That John Y. Brown and Irv Levin shall trade franchises, entire franchises, which in result will keep the historic Celtics in Boston while also giving Levin a team he's free to move to California. The owners would agree to the deal, and just like that, the one and only franchise swap in NBA history was completed. For Brown, after taking over the Celtics, he would quickly trade 3 first-round picks for Bob McAdoo, with 0 consultation from the front office. Red Auerbach, so angered by the move, like Hubie Brown, like Jack Ramsay, would threaten to leave the Celtics. However, this time, it wasn't Auerbach who left, but the owner himself, as John Y. Brown would sell the Celtics in 1979. Right away, he would shift his focus on a new pursuit, to become the governor of Kentucky. His motto, to run the state like a business.
the next governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, John Y. Brown.
For Irv Levin, he would quickly relocate the team from Buffalo to San Diego, renaming the team to the San Diego Clippers. While the Buffalo Braves failed to move to Hollywood, Florida, the Clippers would soon be purchased by the worst owner in NBA history and be moved to Hollywood, California. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. And YouTube thinks you'll like this video next, so maybe check that out. Thank you. Have a great day.